a lot of information about the Anunnaki, and I'm sure there is some relatedness here between those and the Anunnaki, Enki, Enlil, and all that stuff. Like I said, I'm just showing you the can of worms. It's there if you want to navigate it. I'm not going to touch it here, but there's a lot of information about that. Anyhow, to keep going with the rest of this video, the last question I have for it is Don saying, could you state some of those after making the instrument cough, please? And so she coughed. And, let me make a note here because I talk about Anak and the giants and Yahweh and all this stuff. This refers to, let me read it directly from what Ra said. You may be familiar with these, some of these appearances. These are the thought forms such as they use often here with our people to suggest the mysterious or the sublime. So Don is asking about these thought forms that they use. And Ra is going to say, this is information which you may discover. However, we will briefly point the way by indicating the so-called wheel within a wheel and the cherubim with sleepless eye. Okay, so this reference that Ra made was about the wheel within the wheel, which is a vision that Ezekiel had in his days. I have a couple of images, like this one is the classic one that you can find about Ezekiel's vision, and you can see the wheel within the wheel there and the apparition and all that stuff. And then there is this other cool image which I wanted to include because it shows, I'm not sure who the artist of this one is, but it shows the nature of the UFO or the interdimensional being appearance here. So these visions were for Ezekiel, and they were impressed by the Confederation in this case to grant this information. So these are the thought forms that they used to kind of give this information. I think of thought forms as something like holographic in nature that the Confederation or the Orion group can make, and we're going to cover some of those in the next part of this session, and we can take from here that it is the same interdimensional beings causing to give this information, which no matter how we see it, whether in dreams or in visions or in apparitions, it's always attributed to an external God, but it's just the interdimensional beings. And I'll make that note here before I get into the conclusions of this, which is really the foundation of what we think of religion and so on. In fact, because of this session, there's not very much to take out, and I want to just move on from the Atlanteans and the Egyptians and the South America, which we covered already in the past session. I'll make the conclusions then. How about it? So think about the narrative that we have in this history of humans, and all our different gods that we have, and all from even India and other places that they have seen these beings. Of course, many of those, say, in the eastern part of our world, have gotten the information in a way that they can coexist with each other, and they have created phenomenal philosophies like the Tao and Buddhism, or even Zen Buddhism, for that matter. It does create, and there is a resemblance with the Law of One tremendously in the way they explain the universe and everything else. So the Hindu as well. So there has been some success in all these ways, but there's also the bad impression that there exists an external God because of these entities that came here and gave us that information, and so we created this idea of not only Armageddon, like we talked about here, but also the idea that there is an external savior, and we are separated from nature, we're separated from the cosmos itself. We are an experiment, and even though we are disconnected from our own true source, and we think we are these hopeless animals who have somehow created consciousness and are now at the mercy of some external forces. No matter how you see it, the problem is when we stop disconnecting ourselves from everything else. And I wouldn't call this a problem per se, because people are allowed to be this way, and that's all well and good. That's all part of the creation. One of the beautiful things about the philosophy that I derive from the law of one and from everything else that I relate to is that there is no one right way. This is all a construct of our religious beliefs, our societal beliefs, our political beliefs, because we think there is a right and wrong way to live life. So we create self for ourselves, and walls and distance and separation and so on. That, to me, is very much not so. But we are allowed to live that way because this is a sandbox. This is a playground in which we come here, we have an incarnation, we have to program ourselves, but we have free will to do whatever we want. However, those who are seeking some sort of harmony in these hard times, these tribulations that we're going through, may find some solace in knowing that there is no right or wrong. There is just the way of you being, and by you being, you can just see where it takes you, where the river of your own energy takes you. This can be challenging, but as you can see, once you start disassociating from external sources, and I mean even family members, friends, your circles, your groups, that don't resonate with you, and you just start being yourself in the way you want to be, the whole heaven opens to you, and you start seeing that there is no external influence, especially from a God. You are the creator of this. I know this can be hard for a lot of people to digest, but that is the truth, and you only choose to believe it or not. In both ways, you are correct. So, that's all I got in the conclusion for this, just because bringing back the notion that we have been conditioned for hundreds, if not a couple of thousand years already, that we need to follow some sort of external authority.
What if I told you that there is a direct and efficient way to know yourself at the deepest level without having to go into complex practices, years of meditation, or even trying to heal yourself completely? That's what I want to do in this video, and the only thing I'm going to ask you, and I want you to treat this video as a meditation if you can, the only thing I'm going to ask you is that you simply drop all the concepts that may come up, all the philosophy that you have read, all the metaphysics that your mind knows at this point. Just drop all of that in favor of one thing, which is better than anything else. Just one little thing: curiosity. There is a childish curiosity in all of us that is always looking to find and understand. I want you to keep that, but drop everything else that the mind may throw at you during these minutes of exploration into the investigation of who you truly are. That's it. Just the simple childish curiosity that everybody has, and that has been guiding us through so many complicated ways to navigate this. Just keep that, and if the mind keeps repeating some old concepts and saying, yes, that's it, we knew it all the time and it's congruent with, drop it. If some metaphysical model arises and says, this is the, drop it. If philosophies that you have stored in your mind come up and try to explain precisely the process that you're going through, drop it. Drop everything. Just keep that curiosity. Ready? The only question that we care to ask is, who am I? I want to know myself at the deepest possible level. So, who truly am I? Now, follow this question, and it's okay that some answers are going to arise. Some of them may be harmonic. Some of them may not be so harmonic. Watch them, feel them, and know that they are simply answers in the mind. They are arising as a form of identifying you. But notice something very curious. They are being shown to you within you, and then they go away. So they cannot be you, because the feeling of being you is you. Just stay with the feeling of simply being. And keep asking the question, who am I? And notice, again, the mind may stay quiet, and yet you remain. And an answer may come up, maybe a distraction, but you remain. You are always the presence of whatever experience is arising within you. Even the body is being felt at this point. It feels very real, but you are presencing this body. And let that curiosity sink into this simple experience of being. Notice that this field of being is where everything shows up, and then it goes away. All of it. Especially thoughts. Thoughts are very fast. They come and go so fast that they create a string of thoughts that we call a narrative. Notice it. Notice that you are the presence of that stream of thoughts. Stay there. The mind may want to distract you and pull you to a narrative, to explain something, try to show you something, try to convince you of you. Because the narratives are always connected to somebody. That somebody is you. But is it really you? Does that narrative really define you? What happens when that narrative ends? Stay with what remains. You. Simply you. Put it a label. Don't try to conceptualize it. Don't try to attach it to any philosophy you've learned. Don't try to structure it in some form of metaphysical. Leave that to the mind and watch as the mind does this, and then it disappears. And who remains? You. Stay with that. Notice, at this point, how does that presence feel? It's quiet, still, peaceful, expansive, open, undisturbed. And that's what you call you. Isn't that interesting? Everything that your mind tells you about you is ephemeral, is temporary, it's a passenger, the field of you, a character that arises and then dissolves away. Notice it, it's happening all the time. That continuous narrative is happening within you, and yet it is nothing without you. And it doesn't define you, whatever it is that is saying. And very convincing, because it's based on a story, on memory, something that feels very vivid, very real. Only because we have thought that our identity depended on that narrative, and that other narrative, and the other. Drop them all, and just stay very curious about this sense of being. Don't expect anything more advanced to happen. Don't expect anything deeper to be excavated into. Trying to find a bottom to There's none. There is no bottom to being. There is no top to being. There are no sides to being. It's like space. No boundaries. If you do find a wall, notice that it comes and goes. It's an illusion of limitation. And stay with that. Stay with your being. It's okay if the mind talks. It's okay if the mind says many things. And above all things, the mind likes to call you. It likes to explain things about you. It likes to inform you. Gives you definition. Let it do that, but drop away identity, because you cannot be two. You have always been one. Not one with everything. Drop that concept. Just one. You're not two. You are one. Notice how in this interplay with the mind, there is you, the presence of what's happening, what's being told, and the supposed identity of the character responsible for the story or the narrative, and drop that character, collapse it into you, because who are you? Very curious. Don't take my word for it. Investigate. Look into it. Watch the character dissolve as you recognize who you are, the presence of the experience, or the awareness of the experience, or you in the experience. The experience and stay with that. Again, don't expect anything complex out of this. Don't wait for anything special to happen. Just stay with the simple recognition of who you are in the moment. Don't expect to heal. Don't expect to get rid of the separate self or the ego. Those are concepts. We don't even know what they are. We just know that I am, and things are within me. Everything arises and falls, and I remain. Not I the body, not I the mind, I simple, naked, divested of every quality, and stay with that. You be you. Let the experience be what is. But don't be you and the character that the experience or the story, the narrative is trying to inform you of, defining you as. No. Our curiosity has led us to a recognition of something that is beyond the mind, prior to the mind, preceding the mind, surrounding the mind, the father of the mind. Let's stay with him. It's called you, or I. That's what everybody refers to when they say I. Not a narrative. The narrative does not make them say I. It's the feeling of being. So what is this feeling of being? Very curious. Childish curiosity. Nothing else. And stay with what you find, which is pure presence, or simply being, or me. I. This this is the investigation that we do in the direct path. At any level, what we desire is to recognize who we truly are, and now all that's left is to explore the implications of this recognition, because our mind, because it has been conditioned for so long, will continue informing us in a different way. The story may be very convincing still, but the story will weaken as we expose it to the light of truth. Because all we did here was follow truth to its simplest form, without the mind intervening and trying to make it very difficult to study and understand it and assimilate it. How long did it take you? 5 minutes? 2 minutes? To get there? Not even. So, all we need to do at this point is to explore the implications. Watch how my mind has been defining me, explaining myself in a way that is not congruent with what I found. Whatever it is that it tells you, it's not true. The only truth of who you are, we found it. That's it. Some people call this meditation. You can call it meditation. It doesn't have to. It's just curiosity. Curiosity to be who I am. And the more you do this, the more you're going to find that throughout your day, you're being that. Without any effort. And this is what changes everybody's lives in this path. Not 100 books, not 1,000 podcasts, not 1,000,000 videos on YouTube will do this, ever. If anything, they'll just add to the story of the mind, to the narrative. This is the path of unlearning for the purpose of being who you are, which is greater than having all the information in the world, or the universe, being a master of anything. Be a master of you, a master of yourself. How can you possibly accept yourself if you don't know who you are? That's the invitation. Know yourself first. Then you'll be able to accept everything that you are. Without that, it's just the mind trying to accept what it thinks it is. Impossible. Cannot do it. Frustration comes up. Questions, doubts. That's it. That's all that is required. Nothing else. As usual, I hope this video was very helpful. I keep inviting you to my community in school where you can get together with people, like-minded people like us, who are on this path, the direct path to who we are, and exploring these implications together. Questions arise, we're there. Experiences arise that we want to share, we're there. That's what it's for. In the description, you'll find how to reach the community. If you want to book a one-on-one call with me to see how this can possibly help you, and if this is a right fit for you, and you also have a link in the description for that. Thank you for watching and taking your time for yourself, for exploring this with me, and have a wonderful day full of peace and harmony. This is session 60 of the Law of One, and in this first part we're going to touch on personal material centered around Carla. Let's begin. This
this is one of those long sessions that we have to break down into 3 parts, and this first part I wanted to dedicate it to the personal material that is there. Remember, the personal material was released in 1996, if memory serves, on book 5. So if I were to start the session without the personal material, we would go directly into pyramids. But you pyramid lovers have to take a break, and so do I. And we're going to dedicate this session to that personal material that was published in 1996, and that I think it has some really relevant information for us now that we have explored the model of compassion, wisdom, balancing the densities, and everything else we talk about here. So with that in mind, remember this first part is going to be personal material. Then we're going to touch on pyramids in part 2, and part 3 is going to be scattered topics here and there, as done as some different questions about harvests and meditation and some other stuff about the earth itself, being the structure of the earth and so on. So that's going to be our bonus part to cover something more varied. So I expect this first part to be on the shorter side because, like I said, there is only personal material. It starts with, and just for the record, the first question was excluded actually from the original books and not discussed in the personal book, book 5. It was one of those questions that if you read the lawof1.info website, you will find that there's a lot of questions, not that many, but there are some questions that were not included at all in any of the books, any of the original books, and they were first published in 2018, 16, 18, I believe, with the raw contact. And this is one such question, but you can see the unimportance of it because it's just done asking the condition of the instrument, right? I believe that's what he said. And yeah, just Ra said, this is as previously stated. So not much to say there. And then they go into the first real question, I would say, which is the one that we're going to start with. And it's done saying, it is my opinion that the best way for the instrument to improve her condition is through periods of meditation, followed by periods of contemplation, with respect to the condition and its improvement. Could you tell me if I am correct and expand on my thinking? Ra says, meditation and contemplation are never untoward activities. However, this activity will, in all probability, in our opinion, not significantly alter the predispositions of this instrument which cause the fundamental distortions which we, as well as you, have found disconcerting. So, right from the first question, we can get some valuable information. We have to place the importance or the practicality of things where they should be. And when Don is saying that he thinks that meditation and contemplation will aid these distortions, Ra first says that meditation and contemplation are never, they're never activities that you don't want to recommend. You always want to include that. But the activity will not significantly alter predispositions, and these predispositions are pre-incarnatingly chosen, as we'll discuss a little bit in the follow-up questions. And these predispositions were placed by Carla before incarnation, like I said, and these are the ones that are causing the distortions that they find disconcerting. I guess disconcerting in the way they have manifested and how they are affecting the contact in this case, and I mean Carla in general as an entity. But yeah, this is This is basically what we do. We place certain conditions on ourselves that are chosen because they provide a sort of inner environment in which we can thrive in certain lessons that we came here to learn. And that's going to become more clear as we go through. But I think we have spoken about this in the past. Just keep in mind that there are certain distortions called health that we can heal and should heal. But there are others that we think are health issues and are not. They are simply, and this is health, I'm using the word health here in the definition or the meaning of clearing out those things that we are not and or that shouldn't be there, like traumas, for example. Traumas are things that cause a certain illness in us, and once we clear those blockages, that trauma heals, then we are healed physically too. This happens, but there are others that we shouldn't even consider them health, and I think this is why Ra sometimes they say what you would call health, because to them health may not be